The Debt-Free Lifestyle by Dr. Andrew Lawson. Chapter 5. Your Calling in God's Economy. Principle A. Administrator, not owner. That's right. We are called to be administrators of God's resources. We are not the ultimate owners of this world. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. The world and all its people belong to Him. Psalm chapter 24, verse 1. Everything we have comes from God. All material and non-material things are merely entrusted to us. They are all temporarily ours. The watch we wear, the house we live in, the car we ride, everything is temporal. We can't take anything with us when we leave this earth. Our watch, our house, our car will long outlive us after we're gone. You can say the same with your children, spouse, and loved ones you are with. They have been entrusted to you for you to love, take care of, nurture, and teach. Cherish the time you can be with them. This truth has implications on how we see and how we manage our possessions and fulfill our responsibilities before God. What is the difference between an owner and an administrator? An owner hires an administrator to control and manage his business. An administrator, therefore, should be careful to operate according to the wishes of the owner. God is the creator and therefore the owner of all, but He has appointed us to take care of His creation. God wants us to administer every resource and every blessing He has given us for His purposes and glory. We are called to be stewards or administrators of God's resources. The advantage of being an administrator is, when a really big problem comes, the owner comes to the rescue. As stewards of God's resources, we can go to Him to ask for help and guidance. This privilege is called prayer. It has been a practice since our first day of operation to start our regular executive committee meetings, board meetings, departmental meetings with prayer, thanking God and asking Him for wisdom and direction. Prayer strengthens our faith in God as we deal with the different situations that daily confront us. Our story. We wanted to develop subdivisions, but there was an urban land reform law. While the rules and regulations governing this were still being finalized, there was much confusion, thereby halting the approval of new subdivision projects. Thank God for wisdom. Our then President Stephen Rojas came up with an idea of developing farm lot subdivisions for which there was no prohibition, while competitors could not start their new projects. This started our humble beginnings. Sometimes I would tell people, if Max's is the house that Fried Chicken built, then Cityland is the company that Farm Lots built. As administrators of our company, wanting to steward it for God's pleasure, we continually saw how God, the owner of our company, kept protecting us from unscrupulous people. One time, a 5,000 square meter lot along Ross Boulevard was offered to us at half the price of the then prevailing market price. So we were very excited and were rushing to close the deal before the owner changed his mind. As a standard procedure, we first asked around. Someone who had good information warned us not to deal with that particular seller because of his past reputation, so we simply stopped negotiating. We later found out that the lot was sold to another real estate company. It was only after the buyers paid the full price that they checked and found out that the title had been altered and that the real size of the lot was not 5,000 square meters, but 500 square meters. The buyer had paid at least 10 times more for the lot. The ensuing mess and court cases made headlines in the newspapers. Thank God we were spared from being swindled. One day, a famous multi-millionaire died. Thousands attended his funeral. During the funeral procession, one Cadillac after another slowly drove towards the gold-painted mausoleum. As the expensive casket was brought in, two men whispered to one another. One said, "I wonder how much she left behind." The other man wisely replied, "All of it." If we only realize that we do not truly own anything, even those that we have bought with money we earned, then we would look at material things differently. God will someday hold us accountable for how we used and managed each gift. In Matthew 25, Jesus tells the parable of the 3 servants whose master had to leave for a long trip. The master entrusted to each of the servants a bag of silver. When the master returned, each servant reported on what he had done with the treasure entrusted to him. The first 2 had invested their silver and doubled the amount, earning the master's commendation. "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." Matthew chapter 25, verse 21. But the third servant, thinking his master was harsh, was afraid to take risks. He did not do anything with the silver entrusted to him. He simply hid the silver. When the master asked for it, he gave it back just as it was. The master was furious and stripped his servant of his silver and gave it instead to the servant who had doubled his bags of silver. The silver in the parable stands for the talents, abilities, skills, resources, and treasures that God has bestowed on us. The man who merely buried his treasure entrusted to him was called wicked and lazy by the master. Because he did not manage his gifts well, he ended up losing the little he had, and he was punished severely. On the other hand, those who administered their gifts wisely, doubling the treasures entrusted to them, were called good and faithful servants. They were given even greater resources to manage. As a result, their spheres of influence increased. God is a generous Father and King who gives lavishly to all. He has chosen us to be caretakers of His creation and has entrusted us with responsibilities in His kingdom. Handling well what God has given us and increasing it to further God's purposes and bringing glory to Him is what is expected to us as His administrators. My favorite life verse is, "But seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well." Matthew chapter 6, verse 33. One time, when I was sharing a spiritual message in Baguio City with my drama team, I received a call with the good news that our company will be given the Leading Developer in Condominium Development Award for a 3-year period. The criteria in winning were: number 1, having developed the most number of units; number 2, quality of the units; and number 3, no court case, no complaints. The Leading Condominium Developer Award helped boost the reputation of our company. In fact, the Office of the President of the Philippines, through the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board, awarded us again in 2007, distinguishing our company as the only one to have received such an award twice in a row. Given at the time when we were doing ministry, the notice of the award was like a pat on the back from God, as if to say, "Good, keep it up." Reflect. Number 1, how does it make you feel to know that you are an administrator and not the owner of everything you have? Number 2, how differently would you live if you recognize the truth that God has chosen you to be His administrator? And number 3, why is it important to know your calling in God's economy? How then do you administer or manage your financial resources? As soon as you earn any income, what is the most important thing to do before you start spending it? To answer this question, let's turn to Principle B.